Hello, welcome to the Villages, Florida. My name is David. I'm a realtor with Florida Realty Investments. And every week I take a look at the real estate market here in the Villages. The short takeaway this week is that the time on the market for listings is the highest we've ever measured. The 4 week average of the price at which homes went pending is the lowest ever measured, and the percentage of homes that have reduced their asking price from the original listing price is the highest we've ever measured. We'll get to the details in a moment, but first let me orient you as to the villages itself. We're a 55 plus community. We have executive golf courses, championship golf courses, live entertainment every night of the week in 4 town squares. There's recreation, shopping, dining, and more social clubs than you can count. And if you want to know what's happening here, what the long term trends are on prices, price per square foot, and other metrics, we'll cover that coming up. I've divided the villages into 4 geographic regions. You'll get a sense of the differences between them. If you want to be informed about what's happening here, this is the show for you. A couple of things to note. The Villages has 2 distinct marketplaces, the VLS and the MLS. The MLS is the same marketplace that you're familiar with from other parts of the country. The VLS is the Village's own internal listing service. It's the only place on which you'll find new listings, but pre-owned homes are both available on MLS and VLS. What this means is that if you're a buyer, you will need to have agents who can show you homes on both marketplaces. Without that, you will only be seeing about half of the properties for sale here. All of the information on the show is drawn from the MLS. We produce the show every week. Make sure you check the date to ensure you're getting the most recent information. If you find the information valuable, please consider liking the video or subscribing to the channel. Really helps us with YouTube. And if you need to reach me, you can reach me at either DavidisinFlorida.com or DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. And I would like to add one more note this week. This show actually costs money to produce. That doesn't even count the time that I spend producing it. If you are willing to support the channel, please consider subscribing to our Patreon. If you find the information valuable, the lowest tier is only $5 a month. It really will help us to keep this show on the air. You can find the link to our Patreon in the show description. And if you're a buyer trying to find a good deal, I think you'll find our data driven approach will give you the confidence that you've found one. Also, if you're a seller, our data driven approach will help you justify the highest reasonable asking price. So, with that out of the way, let's take a look at what's happening here this week. We start every week by taking a look at what's happening with the US 10-year note. The yield on this note is the yield that the 30-year mortgage most closely tracks. And you can see that we are back at around 4.5% on the 10-year. It's anybody's guess as to the direction of interest rates from here. But I will caution you that if you expect rates to fall from here, you should also be taking a look at the 30-year bond, which is making new highs in terms of yield. Real estate is financed ultimately, and obviously the price of real estate is going to be determined in large part by the financing costs. So let's take a look at where the Villages is physically located. We're in Central Florida. We're about an hour north of Orlando, about an hour and a half from coasts to the east and west. Obviously, there are beaches on either coast, but a lot of villages find all the entertainment and amenities that they need without leaving the villages. There is so much to do here that many people find their week full of activities without ever leaving the confines of the villages. The maps you're looking at are showing you all active listings on the MLS as of today. The size of the circle denotes the size of the property, and the color of the circle denotes its price per square foot. The more expensive the home, the brighter the color, the larger the home, the larger the circle. You're going to be seeing these maps throughout the show, and that is how to understand this graphic. So let's dive into active listings. This week, they number 684. You can see that for the last 2 weeks or so, that number has been coming down very slightly, but we're still way elevated from where we were 3 years ago when I first moved down here. We're going to take a look both at listings, sales, and homes going pending. We had a request recently to show a map indicating where pending home sales and closed sales were taking place. I have included that. We'll get to that in a second. So let's take a look at how long these listings have been on the market. I actually misspoke during the introduction. The current median listing time is 65 days. The highest ever was 67 days. Sorry about that mistake, but you can see that we're certainly elevated, and looking over the past 3 years, you can see that numbers this high are a new occurrence here. This is the median list price per square foot for all active MLS listings, up very slightly this week to 253.64. The reading last week was the lowest level that we'd ever seen. We're up very slightly from that this week. We're going to take a deep dive into listings by region in a moment, but before I do that, let me explain how I've divided the villages into four geographic regions. The first is the area I'm calling the North. This is everything south of Highway 42 and north of Highway 466. This is the older part of the villages. The second area is the area I'm calling the Mid-North. This is everything south of 466 and north of 466A. This includes Lake Sumter Town Square. The third area is the area I'm calling the Mid-South. This is everything south of Highway 466A and north of Highway 44, and this includes Brownwood Town Square. We're getting into the newer part of the villages here. And the final area is the area I'm calling the South. This is everything south of Highway 44. This is the newest part of the villages. This is the area the villages is expanding into, and we're seeing increased levels of activity here. I'm going to show you the differences between prices and sizes of homes in these regions, but now that you have an orientation as to where they are, let's get to it. Before we do that, here's a summary of the village's MLS system as a whole. This week, 684 active listings. Sizes range from 786 square feet to 4,987, with 1,532 square feet being the median. Prices from 125,000 to 1,550,000, with 380,000 the median. And on a per foot basis, prices range from $121 a foot to $513 a foot, with $254 a foot being the median. Yeah, you can see our first look at how the different regions compare. You can see the North, Mid-South, and South. You can see how many listings there are in each of these regions, what the size of the homes are available for sale, smallest, largest, and median-sized, prices, the least expensive, most expensive, and median price. And you can see the same information on a per foot basis, least expensive, most expensive, and median price, once again broken down by region. This graphic shows you the different levels of activity in the different regions. You can see how many homes are currently active, pending over the last 60 days, and sold over the last 60 days. This is the only graphic that's going to show you pending and sold over the last 60 days. If the number is higher than the previous week, it's highlighted in green. If it's lower, it's highlighted in red. And it certainly is interesting to see the level of activity continuing to increase in the South. Here's another perspective on listings. You can see in what year the homes that are currently available for sale were constructed. The entirety of the villages is on the right. North, middle, south, and south is to the left. And you can see that in the north, construction really was from the 80s until 2000. In the middle north, from 2000 to 2010. In the middle south, from 2010 to 2020. And construction really only began in the south around 2020. This is an encouraging chart. It shows the number of new listings and number of homes going pending. The graph is a 4-week average, as is the negative 350 number. You can see new listings in red and pending home sales in blue. This is over the last 7 days. And even though this graph is a 4-week average, we're seeing the gap between new listings and pending home sales narrow. As a matter of fact, this week, the number of homes going pending exceeded the number of new listings for the first time in quite a while. Here you can actually see the difference between new listings and pending home sales. This is not smooth. This is weekly data points. This is the first time that we've seen the number of homes going pending exceed the number of new listings on a weekly basis since looking at this graph around the end of October, beginning of November of last year. This week, 7 more homes went pending than were listed. This map shows you the 47 homes that went pending over the last 7 days. Once again, the size of the circle denotes the size of the home and the color denotes its price per square foot. Larger the circle, larger the home, and the brighter the color, the more expensive per square foot. Now let's take a closer look at those homes that went pending over the last 7 days. We'll start by taking a look at how long they were on the market before going pending. This is a 4-week average, 58 days, the median time. This is elevated. It's not the highest number that we've seen so far, but it certainly shows normal seasonal patterns in terms of sales activity starting to slow around this time of year. This is the median price per square foot for the homes that went pending over the last 7 days. The graph is a 4-week average. 244.30 is the lowest 4-week average that we've seen so far. A small decrease from last week, but certainly well below the levels that we had gotten used to here. Here we continue looking at the homes that went pending over the last 7 days, and this is the median reduction from the original asking price for those homes up to an 8.07% reduction. We're getting uncomfortably close to 10% again. Previously, when this level reached 8%, it dropped quickly thereafter. We'll have to wait and see if that happens again this year. Now we'll look at where the new listings were located. These are new listings as of the last 7 days. Once again, you're looking at size and price per square foot on all of these maps. Bigger the circle, bigger the home. Brighter the circle, more expensive per square foot. You can see exactly what parts of the villages these new listings are located in. Now we'll look at sales. This map shows you all closed transactions on the MLS over the last 7 days. You can see the activity still seems to be focused in the middle of the villages. I'm going to dive deeper into the properties that closed last week coming up. This is a long-term chart showing you how many homes are closing every week. The graph is a 4-week average, as is the 41. As I mentioned a moment ago, the number of homes actually closing last week was 40. Unfortunately, this is towards the end of our seasonal heightened activity period. I'll be covering that in the next chart. Here you can get some idea as to the level of activity on a seasonal basis. You can see the weeks of the year on the x-axis below and the number of sales per week on the y-axis to the left. This week we jumped slightly to 40 sales. As you can see, we're following very closely the sales activity of 2024. The dark blue line is 2022, the light green line 2023. The red line 2024 and the very light blue line this year 2025. This is a smooth 4-week average of the same information I just showed you. You can see that activity is following normal historical patterns, but it's important to note that the number of listings is so much higher than it was in prior years that having the same level of sales activity is not going to help much with reducing inventory levels here. Here we can see a 4-week average of the sales price per square foot. These are the properties that closed over the last 7 days. 249.25, the median price. We are bouncing from previous lows, which is encouraging for sellers to some extent. And here we return to all listings once again, and we're looking at what percentage of listings have reduced their asking price from the original asking price. 61.84% of listings have reduced their asking price. This is the highest number that we've ever seen here. And here we look at what the median price reduction is for all current MLS listings, 4.9%, the median price reduction, i.e. the reduction from the original asking price for all MLS listings this week. If you found this information valuable, especially if you're a real estate professional, please consider supporting the channel by joining our Patreon. For only $5 a month, you'll help us to defray our expenses of gathering all of this data and the time we spend in presenting it to you. And if you're a buyer looking for a good deal, please reach out to me at DavidisinFlorida.com or DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. I'll be happy to help you find a deal here. And similarly, if you're a seller trying to realize the highest gain that you can on your home, DavidisinFlorida.com or DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. Be happy to answer any questions you have about life in Central Florida or life in the villages itself. I hope to hear from you. Take care.